This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so last week I had shared this guide with you, and I've been sharing the recording also on a timely basis. Okay, so IAM is a very important part, and is my screen visible to you guys? Not yet.
No, Mithun.
No, sir.
Okay, is it visible now? Okay, so there is a one architecture diagram. Okay, so going forward, please get familiarized with the technical words like architecture diagram. What is an AWS account ID? Right? What is a VPC? Now you know very well what is meant by VPC. Okay. Now before coming to this picture, so let me go to my diagrams here, and let us understand a simple authentication procedure. Okay. For example, so this is your house. Okay. Now, will you allow anyone inside your house? No. So we allow only known people inside our houses. Okay, so this is a common thing. Everyone will follow the same thing, right? Even it is your house or my house, it is same thing. Allow only known people. For example, a person comes to the main door. Whether is so that condition is, do you know him? Yes. Yes, go inside, else you will not allow him. So this step is called as authentication. The first step is authentication. Okay, so what is the first step happening here? Whether you know that person, yes, then only on that condition you are allowing him inside, or in other words, you are allowing him to enter your house. So that is called authentication. Okay, now he has passed. Okay, first stage is passed. Okay, authentication is passed. Then next, what is the next step? So once he enter into the house, what and all he can do? Okay, suppose this is a common room, he is allowed. This is your bedroom, he is not allowed. Okay, bathroom he is allowed. Kitchen he is not allowed. Some master bedroom will be there, he is not allowed. So what is this? So you are allowing him inside, but you are not giving him all the access, right? So this second step is known as authorization. You're getting the point? So in any login, these two happens. So why I took this house example, because you can relate it very well and you can register this thing in your mind. So these two process happens in any login, whether it is a Gmail, anything for that matter. Only these two steps, right? Because you provide your email ID and password. So first stage is passed. So you enter inside. So that is called you have passed the authentication. Then authorization. So what and all you are allowed to do? So only those things you are allowed to do inside Gmail. Not all the activities you can do, right? So only, so that is meant by authorization. Okay. Now coming back to the diagram here. Okay. So every account you log in, right? So you are following the first stage, or only you will be allowed inside the AWS account only if you are a valid user. Okay, so that is the first step called as authentication. So as you can see here, so user, So user is authenticated and he is allowed inside the AWS account. So that authentication can be for a user, for a role, for an application, or a federated user. So we will explain all these activities. We'll do hands-on, then you will understand what do you mean by federation, all those things. Okay. Then once he entered, on what basis he will be given authorization? After inside, after entering the inside of AWS account, what else is required? So that is defined by the policy. So there will be a JSON document readily available written by the AWS. You just need to attach those policies to that particular user. As simple as that. You're getting the point, right? Yes or no? So just think that IAM is something related to your passport. So with the passport, you are allowed to go anywhere. But what you are allowed to do inside that country, it all depends on your the type of visa or the type of ownership you will have. You can't do anything in the outside country, even this in this country also. But the way you have to behave is as per your the policy. So you have to maintain the rules. So once you go to the outside country, you have to follow those rules and regulations. So that is known as the policy. Even in AWS also, every permission is based on the AWS IAM policy. Okay. So user is requesting, he is allowed inside, and what and all he can do, it is based on the authorization and based on the policy. Okay. And sometimes the resources also, like AWS EC2 service and then IAM service, and then there is other services require some permission to interact with another resources. So that can be achieved by roles. So we'll explore each and everything, okay, in detail. You're getting the point. Okay. Now see here. So that is the reason I shared this official document. This is beautifully designed. Okay. Now, if you see here, every account will have these type of users. So this is an account, and these are the users: Lee, Matteo, DevAppen, TestApp1, like this. Okay. So this is an AWS account, and this is IAM is a service. So users requesting IAM will go through this authentication and authorization process. Clear? Okay. So let me come back to this diagram here. Now we will consider this as a, now we will relate this to AWS. Okay. Now this is your AWS account. I will remove this house. It is not required anymore. So I will mention AWS account. So think that this is a AWS account. Okay. So AWS account means everything, all the services will be here, like VPC, IAM. IAM is also one of the service. Okay. So what VPC will have, you know already, like VPC peering, subnets, all those things. So VPC means you should visualize. Okay. Now anyone trying to access your account definitely will go through this process. Authentication. So he will enter his user. So you all are logging into your AWS account to practice VPC, right? So what you are entering there? So what you will enter? You will enter the username and basically your email ID and password. So what is that? So you are entering the credential, right? So that is following the authentication step. Okay. And after authentication, authorization will also be followed. So this will check. So the authentication step will check whether in the IAM this user is present. So it will be like this. So users, and there will be permissions, or you can say policy. You're getting the point. So email ID, once you enter, it will check the authentication. Yes, you are a respective user. For example, I'll write an example. So for example, Mithun is such user, and for him there is a policy attached, say admin policy or administrator access. Okay. So yes, first step passed because Mithun user exists, and administrator access, it is the superpower in the AWS account. So now as you can see, even including myself, all these days we were logging in using the email ID and password. Okay. So now let me try to log into the AWS console. See, this is known as, if you have noticed carefully, this indicates that root user. So what do you mean by this root user? Meaning account owner that perform tasks requiring unrestricted access. So root user is basically it, this credential will be with the account owner. So with respect to the companies, it will be with the whom, project project owners. Okay. So now I am entering the use email ID and I am entering the password. Okay. And now it is asking for the MFA token, so I need to pass that. Okay, so let me pass the MFA token once, just a second. Okay, so MFA token is something I have installed for the on my mobile for my additional security. Okay, so why? Because so what I have done is, along with my email and password, if this is successful, it is also, let me show my mobile also in the diagram. So I have installed one software called as Google Authenticator. What it will do, it will be displaying the MFA. Okay, you can name it as MFA. That is MFA stand for multi-factor authentication. Okay. So along with this, it will also be checked. So this is the additional step. Okay. So this is additional step. Okay. So here with the MFA, it will be displaying tokens. Like I will mention the token here, like 12112 like 6-digit token. It will be displayed every few seconds. So along with my password and email ID, if I enter this, so it only then I'll be able to log in. So why this is needed? Because if there are many evil type users, in the sense like very hackers are there, so they may, if they get to know your email ID and password, so they can easily crack. But with this setup, they will not be able to go inside the AWS account. So this is the steps. So first step is authentication is carried out with the help additionally by the support of multi-factor authentication. So let me write that multi-factor authentication. So let me mention here multi-factor multi-factor authentication, which is MFA. Clear? So until and unless, see, until I pass this information, it will not allow me to go inside the system. Okay, see now, see for yourself. See, troubleshoot MFA. If I enter wrong, see here. Now I am entering some random number. It will fail. See now, BMTP 75. So it is failed. It means it will not pass the authentication step itself. You're clear? You're getting the point, right? So I need to give the correct information, and it is an additional service. So by default, this service will not be activated. You need to activate. Today I will show you people how you can activate multi-factor authentication. Okay, just a second. Let me enter the password again. So it is loading here, MFA. 1 second. And only when I enter correct, only then, see, now it is not asking me for security other things. So this is the benefit of multi-factor authentication. And remember guys, IAM is a global entity, meaning it does not require to be configured in a region wise. Once you create, so once you logged in, right, go to the IAM, search for IAM next to the services option and go inside this. So once you go inside this, you will see this is global, meaning if the user is present in IAM, then if he has proper authorization, then he can access any of the AWS region. Okay, so now as you can see, this is the IAM dashboard. So now if you see, for you I have already configured MFA, but for you it might be showing security recommendation. Please create a multi-factor authentication. Okay. So how to create? So you have to click on the here, click link my security credentials. Okay, and click on multi-factor authentication. So I have already added, but I will show you activate MFA. Then you can name anything here, say for example my AWS, and select virtual MFA device, the first option, and go to next, continue, and show QR code, and then open your mobile phone, and you have to install Google Authenticator. So which will be like this. So Google Authenticator app. So it is free. Okay. So it will be like this, Google Authenticator. So you need to install. So as this is my desktop, so I cannot install this. So you have to install in your mobile phone. Once you have installed, then the very next step you have to do is, just a second, you have to, once after the installation there will be a plus symbol. Okay, so there will be a plus symbol. You need to click on that. So let me show you in the app. Yes. So as you can see, this is the plus symbol you will have, and once you click this, it will ask for option whether to enter the this one or the scan the QR code. So select the scan the QR code, and once you selected that option, you have to scan this, and simultaneously after you have scanned, it will display OTP kind of thing after few seconds. So you have to enter the OTP two times, one after the other, immediately, and then once you have done that, you can click on assign MFA. So once you have done that, your account is very secure. So I'm not going to do that because I have already created a this thing, so I need not do this. Okay, this is the first thing. And if you want to, and always it is recommended to change the password regularly, at least weekly, once, twice, as how you feel comfortable. It is highly recommended. Okay. Now, yes, so now you have learned how to configure MFA. So now let us go to the users and groups. Okay, because you need to create user, right? For example, I have created one user Terraform here. Okay, so similarly, how to create users in this? So click on add users. Username, you can give it as John. Okay, and you can add another user Bob, and you can add Ram. So like this you can add, and now in front of you you have two options. Select AWS access type. Now what is this meaning? See, the first one means access key, and that means programmatic access. So programmatic access means you will not be able, you will be able to access only via CLI like this. Okay, for example, AWS list. So this is the way. Let me show you. Describe. As you can see, these are various options using which we can communicate with the AWS via command line. Okay. And command is see here, this is the thing. So AWS EC2 describe VPCs. So as you can see, it will display all the VPCs. So this is known as, okay, so this will display the information only in the CLI format. Okay, so this is the meaning of programmatic access. Okay, so if you select only this, right, so this user logging into the system, only he will have access using CLI. But if you select password, that is management console, okay, not this, then for him some auto generated password will get created, or you can also choose your own password. And always, if you want that user to change the password once he log in for the first time, you have to select this, or else don't select this. And you can also select the auto generate password or custom password. And once you have created, so I am going to select auto generated password and I am going to click on next permissions. Now, while adding the permission, this is where the groups will come into the picture. See why we form group. So group is a way or mechanism to list or group people as per their taste. Okay, for example, bikers group, or there, for example, network admins group. Okay, so in organization there will be groups as well. So there will be developers group, there will be non-developers group, there will be administrator group, there will be AWS solution architects, okay, and group owners. So like this. So you cannot give, all the access and all the permission to all the users. So you will provide only, uh, you know based on their functionality or based on their roles, right? So that is called rolled base access, isn't it? So that is where you create a group. So now this group name is known as developers, because all these four people are belonging to the developers and they require only easy to read only access. So I am selecting the permission. So this is the policy. You can create your policy also, which we'll discuss later, but for now you can select read only access and create group. So as you can see, add users to the group. So this is the one way. What is the other way? You can attach the policy directly, which we are not going to do now. And next, going to the tag. So tag is a way of listing the things as per your value. For example, uh, employee type. So you can say developers. or else department developers. So they can have, you can have multiple key value pair, or for example country, so India or USA, like that you can. So these are all optional, but this will help you to filter the things based on the tags. Okay, next. So John, Bob and Ram, so these three users will be created. Okay, and just create a users. So as you can see, these many users are created, and as a AWS admin or a DevOps engineer, you have to download this CSV file and you need to send to the respective users personally over his official email ID. You should not share the credential over a group. Clear? So this is the way. Okay, and you have to download the CSV files. Clear? But I'm not going to download because I don't need to send to anyone. I'm going to delete this user later. Okay, now the users Bob, John have been created. It is showing me the display. Okay, now you can restrict these users to use the MFA. So again, how will you do? Click on this user, click on the security credentials and click on assign the MFA, and you can give the name here, and same you have to follow the same procedure. So this is how you can assign the MFA. Okay, and today all of you we have to start using the MFA, and after today no one will create. Okay, now I will create one more groups. Okay, now go to groups, and I will create one more group called as admins. So AWS dash admins, meaning they will have superpower. So create that and just add the policy. Okay, so administrator access. So select this and just simply create group. So AWS admins users are created. I mean group is created. User group is created. Now I will create one more user. So now say in the account. Now these are developers. Now there are some more users who are admins. So for example myself, and there is one more guy. Say mm, RT. Okay, he is from USA. I am from India. So you can select the same thing. Select the password. Next permissions, and so I will add user to the admin because these two users are administrator. They can do anything inside the AWS account. And next go to tag and everything else. It is easy, and create users. Clear? And same thing. Okay, this is the way you have to create the users, and these are real-time activities. Okay, so you will be required to create that user, add to the specific group. Okay, clear? So this is known as the users and groups. Okay, so next what is the concept? So next is we'll go to the policies. We'll decide what is there inside the policies. Okay, now we just saw simply we are creating users and groups, adding the users to the groups and attaching the policies to the users or groups directly. You can attach the policy directly to the user also, but what is inside the policy? So let us discuss this. So take in the policy, there will be three elements. Okay, that is EAR. Okay, first one is A. In why I have given EAR, because EAR is easy to remember. So in that A is the action. In the action, so let me see here. So as you can see, first is effect. Action is allow or deny. So there will be one more thing. Yeah. So effect here allow, or you can deny. And action in the sense what and all he or she will be able to do. Meanings who is he or she? He or she who is using this policy to log into this account. So EAR, effect, that is allow or deny. Actions, it will say what and all he can do. And the last one is R, that is resource. Resource in the sense on what and all services. Like for example, they can only create network related activity, or only EC2 related activity, or only monitoring related activity. So only these kind of things will be mentioned in the resource. So resource, it means star. Star means anything. Okay. So let us consider another. So I told you about administrator access, which is a very superpower, right? So now let us check here administrator access. This is the simplest policy. See, it has the statement. So in the IAM policy, it will have the statement, and it will have three things. Effect is allow, action means star, means everything he can do, resource star means on all the resources. Okay, you getting the point? Clear? So this is the meaning of, and using this as a blueprint, you can create your own policy. So how to create our own policy? So click on create policy. So there is a, if you don't know JSON, you don't need to worry. You can use the service here. So you can use like any service. For example, I will search for VPC. So I will give only VPC, that is. Okay, so for example EC2. Okay, so in that you can again only listing, only reading, so only tagging. So as per your requirement you can modify. Okay, so as you can see, so many things are populated here. Okay, and resources section, all resources you can mention, or you can also mention specific resources. You're getting the point? So this is the way you have to create the policies. Okay, so if you Google, AWS has itself, they have many custom policy. You have to just see, as a initially you just need to know what and all you have to use initially. So for rest on everything, AWS documentation is there, and you can take the help from there, and you can create policies. Okay, so this is the concept. Okay, so for now I am going to give you one assignment, and I'm going to explain it to you. So this is the IAM HandsOn Immersion Lab. Okay, so this has a detailed explanation what do you mean by policy, and this has a hands-on proof of concept where you can specify access to specific users based on the department. Okay, so this is what we are going to do. So there will be user Anne and user Sally, and but user Anna will be having a tags of department HR, and she will have a department HR, and we are going to create a custom managed policy departmental access. So as per this only, as the Anna or Sally will have the access based on their department. So this is the AWS Immersion Day labs, and just follow along, okay, and you will be able to do this. Clear? Clear? So I am going to share this with you. Okay, so I'm going to share this with you, and by tomorrow you all should complete this. Okay, you should understand what do you mean by IAM policy, what do you mean by groups. In your AWS account you should practice this lab, otherwise going forward it is of no use. Okay, clear? Yes or no? Okay, so I'm going to stop here today because that is sufficient. So tomorrow we are going to continue with the access key. What do you mean by? Now until today we were only accessing AWS using the AWS management console like this. So from tomorrow we will create, or we'll try to connect to AWS using the CLI, how you can interact with the resources inside the AWS account. So that hands-on we will do tomorrow. But before that, you need to complete this hands-on on your own, because step by step I have given. It is very easy. Just read once and try to do the project. Okay. Okay. Any doubts you can ask me.